Hello guys, welcome back. D-Dollar here, building Mirror CF86. And had a lot of questions today. I've been talking with a lot of people. And actually this question is going to vary very much on everything that you're doing. And it's going to be a difficult question to answer. And a lot of guys are asking me, inquiring about these builds. And Bill Jacobs and I talked for about an hour actually on FaceTime today, and I thought it was really cool. He's from Brazil, South America, and I think one of the big questions is he's been flying for a number of years and would really like to get into jets. And they have gone through and checked it out with Mirrors RC and as well as others, and this and that, trying to get a feel for whatever the cost would be to build one of these jets. In the United States, it kind of depends on what you're going to do, but you also need to decide on what you want to do with this jet when you're building it and this and that. And, you know, it doesn't take a huge shop to do this. I've kind of proved that, but if you're going to do competition and scale like I plan to do with this, you're going to want more room. And there's just no getting around it. This airplane, if I just glassed it and sanded it off and got it ready to go and just ready to paint it with everything, with the engine retracts, all this stuff that goes with it, it can vary. But I want to kind of talk a little bit about cost and time. I mean, when we started this jet a year ago, I mean, it's taken a year to do it so far. And I think one of the big things is a lot of guys ask me about how much this would be. Now, I bought all the options with this and I still got a lot to build. And a lot of guys have asked me how strong is the airframe, and I can tell you it's absolutely fantastic. This is a very, very, very tough airplane. I can tell you, just from what I've built. Guys, the things that people have looked at and says, man, I don't know about that. Guys, you could stand on these freaking elevators, and when they're glass and all that stuff, you could stand on them. I doubt you could break them. They're that good. It depends on the quality of wood you get, where you're at, what you're getting, and I can tell you, they're strong. Servos, I'm using digital super speed D625 NWs. These are a high-tech servo. They're not exactly cheap, but they're not exactly expensive either, and they work well. I've used these for some time. They're programmable, and that's something you're going to need, but they need to be very fast. And you can find these for about $39, $40 a piece, high-tech. If you want to go with Savox, you can go with the 1250 or whatever. You're going to be fine. But you're gonna pay damn near, you know, for the cost of one of those. You can get two of these, and these work just fine. Little pieces like this are readily available. They're not very much. They're aluminum, and what this will do is these will go on to the doors. Once I put these in the doors, they will sandwich in there and actually bolt in, be able to remove. And you can still take, and I actually attach them to the actual, doors. Now, the wings, yes, they are tough. They're very strong. If you build them, they're like iron. And the one thing is that the whole airplane is built like that. And you're going to spend probably, gosh, you're going to pay at least if you're in the United States or South America and all that, By the time you get it all sheeted and ready to glass, you're gonna have about 1,000 into it. The total cost in the build for me, I buy used stuff. I don't skimp on certain things. As far as radio gear, I will show this. I just got a turbine today for this, and I bought it used, but guys, for the bang for the buck, that is good for anything you will fly, and I can guarantee you not going to have any issues with it. This one has flown a lot of different airplanes and run a lot of different equipment, and yeah, mine's pretty, but anyway, guys, so that and a case is available. You're going to need this stuff before you actually start. And the reason for it is because there's not going to be a lot of things going. A lot of the support gear that you're going to get is very, 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 it's kind of whatever. But guys, I will build stuff. You can buy a pre-made cockpit. For this airplane, they're about $800 to $900. I make mine. I use a company called I Fly Achilles, and I love his cockpits. They're beautiful. And what you would do is you do it yourself, which is what you should do anyway. Now, I'd rather pay out, you know, and have a bunch of stuff and the time to build it. But I do a lot of things like painting. I love painting, and so building cockpits is something I love doing. And so, and I love the glassing part. And I actually don't like what I'm doing here right now. Sanding sucks, but it has to happen. You know, it's like my buddy Carton Alexander says, you got to get her done. So anyway, I did it. And also, I think one of the big things is don't be afraid of used equipment. I see things on eBay a lot. Some of it you may have to pay for the plane ride, but I'm not offended by that. I don't have to have everything brand new. And just so, you know, turbines. I'm running a 160, and it's a Jetman. And I bought it, and it was about half the cost of a brand new one. So it was, I got a good deal on that, you know, I'm not even going to complain about it. But yes, I do have my turbine, and I've got a guy that's actually building my retracts, and we'll get to that. When we get to these points, we'll start showing little things and this and that and whatever have you. And the point is not to break the bank, but you don't want to go so cheap you screw yourself. Now, that was the one thing, you know, about even the turbine. $3,000 for a turbine is, whoa. Well, you can get them for half that. If you go on your Facebook groups and you actually look around, you can find the deals. And I think we're going to do an episode where we can find these. And I'm going to show you where to go and how to do it. And don't be afraid to talk in these Facebook groups and ask questions either. Some of the best builders in the world hang out in these things, guys. And I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people have actually asked me lately is what are, and again, it's the cost. Well, what I buy from eBay, I order it from Midwest Balsa because it's probably the best quality that I've gotten lately. And we don't have any hobby shops around here that are worth crap. So a lot of things I get a lot cheaper. I went down and bought a set of ball links so I could set up all these control arms and rods and all this stuff like that. And holy shit, I was like, wow, $5 for two of them. and I got them on eBay. I got 12 of them for $9. So if you know what your part numbers are, you can shoot those in and you can find them. And those guys are real quick to get your business. And that's what kind of killed our hobby shops around here. But the hobby shops kind of brought that upon themselves over price and bullshit. So we're not feeling too sorry for them. I think one of the biggest things is that you will find getting into this hobby and sport or whatever you want to call it. I think the one biggest thing that you're going to find out is that the camaraderie between us builders and us pilots and everything else and everything that goes along with this hobby is probably some of the most fantastic relationships you'll ever make. You know, a lot of you guys have looked on my Facebook and you've actually seen my Spitfire, which was actually really wanted at Top Gun. Well, we had a hangar fire and I lost the whole shop. And so rebuilding that was really not all that bad. So I'm going to show you I'm going to take you for a little bit of a tour today. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing and how we get back on our feet with things and this and that. So I'm going to show you some things, and I am a complete disorganized mess today, but I do have I got a dumpster, but I've been getting a lot of stuff in, and yes, my radio gear is the power safe, and I've got the satellites and everything with it. And I'm gonna take you for a little bit of a tour of the shop. Put these back over here real quick. And I'm just gonna tell you, I'm a very disorganized, I'm a messy guy right now. But anyway, here's this is a little bit of what we got going on, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. Yes, I do smoke, not all the time. But anyway, guys, I've got a small Harbor Freight toolbox. I paid a whole $100 with it. I've got every tool you could think of that I need for building RCs. And I also work on real airplanes as well. And a lot of things I don't show you guys a lot of is what my tools and stuff. I do actually have necessary stuff like calipers and punches, all kinds of screwdrivers. I do make my own wiring harnesses. I do have a tool for it over here somewhere. And I've been getting a lot of things in, but there's my gyro, little things for the latches, little pieces here, wiring kits, my crimpers and all that stuff are there. My laminating tools all go over here, and that's just how I do that. The mail lady always bugs me when I'm doing stuff, but I have everything I need in that. This is a 2x4 table that's underneath here, and basically this is where I do a lot of my mixing and stuff. Lately I've been just hanging on to stuff over here. I'm gonna go down and put a shelf across here to get this more organized. And yes, I do work on real airplanes, obviously. So the thing is I do have that. I need more room for shelves and stuff like that, but these are all things you'll get as you go. Another main thing that I would tell guys to look at is look at getting a couple of these. These are auto-body racks that you can get at Harbor Freight. They're about $20, and they're worth their weight in gold. And they're already padded and such, and they do very well. And so I have a couple of these tables, and I've been getting ready because I'm actually going to start my wings on this, but I'm going to put another shelf over here. I'm going to do that here in just a little bit. I need to get shelves on both ends and start getting this stuff up here. Now, scissors are something you're always going to need, and it's something they're there. And then you have things like your model table and all this other stuff for holding on to things. And yes, I got the wing tanks. I have not sheeted them yet, but I'm getting ready to start doing that. And in order to do that, I need a shelf up there so I can get my glue stuff ready to go. And I'm going to put some nails in there to start hanging some other stuff at. But anyway, you need room to work. And when you start getting ready to paint and do things like this, and it's kind of one of these deals, if you don't have a huge shop, then you're going to be on top of yourself, but you can do it. But the game changed on this particular model, so I was going to build it and sell it for the next one, but I'm not. I'm actually going to take it and fly it, and I'm going to compete in Top Gun with it, providing I get the rest of this bodywork done and get this in primer and have time to get it finished up. And yeah, there's the canopy. I glassed that a little while ago, and letting that cure. Put another coat on there, get it ready, and then I'll do the top of it and get it ready to cut the fiberglass top so I can start getting this done. I got lots and lots of body work to do on this thing to get it ready. And even though you guys have watched a lot of my series, I'm far from perfect. And the one thing that I want to tell you guys is that, you know, it's one of the big things. Getting into this is actually one of the coolest and best things I've ever done. But I think one of the best things about building in this is that you're never going to be bored or alone. There's always something to do. And I think some of the biggest things is just to not exceed your level. Now, I've told a lot of guys that, you know, I've told a lot of guys, and there are a couple of you that are building this solely from what I'm showing you. But there are a lot of things about a jet, and yes, this one is actually, in fact, my first jet and the first jet I've ever built. So I've built a lot of airplanes, but I've never built a jet. And so this is a brand new thing. It's the next wave, and I've been building for approximately 40 years. And a lot of guys I'm 53 years old. So I've been doing this since I was about, knee-high to a grasshopper. But I think one of the big things is I started out building airplanes with, I started building Gulo models that were rubber powered and just really fun little kits to build. And we never really I never worried about whether it was big enough to hurt somebody or not, because, well, they were about that big back then. I went after that, I started building a lot of the top flight airplanes, and a lot of them were control line, because, well, it was poor people. We didn't have enough money to go into our radio control, and it was extremely expensive back then, and it was not exactly the most affordable thing on the planet to do. So we were doomed to carrying on with actual control line stuff and this and that, and we had a lot of fun with it. And they were Cox airplanes, 049s. We used to take those after we smacked plastic ones up and stick them on a wood, basically a piece of 1/4 inch stuff, and give her hell. So, and we did that for a long time. And then I started building later, after I got out of the Navy. I started actually building a lot of stuff like, I think I built a couple of Goldberg edition Cubs. They were beautiful. Yeah, I loved that airplane. It would actually fly it backwards and stuff. And I think some of the, shut up, Mern. Anyway, it's just one of those deals where we got into doing so many other things that I got them. And then Top Flight came out with the giant scales. So I built a couple of the Corsairs. I built I actually built more than that. I built Corsair, and then we went through and built, I built the first P-47, and I decided that wasn't big enough. So I built a Zeroli P-47, and that's where I started to get a little bit more into the scale and detail, because the more you do to those airplanes, the more they make you do. And so, you know, it was cool to put the little cheap cockpits in the top flight, you know, giant scales, but it was a lot more fun to build the Zerolis. So I did those, and then I had a situation where I got hurt on the job, and my therapy after a broken back and 3 back surgeries later, I started building again. So I started building the Zeroli Spitfire, and after that one got me recognized with everything, and that is actually how I got to know Mears. And so I used his detail sets on my Spitfire, and that one went viral and actually got famous in almost 13 countries within a year. So here we are today. About a little over a year ago, we had an electrical fire. Then it was wound up being a contractor miswired a heater that we had installed in the shop, the new shop. I had one that was perfectly fine before that. I actually missed that place. And the heater caught on fire, burned the whole thing, and I lost everything in that shop. It wasn't everything we owned, but it was ridiculous, and the insurance company saw fit to give me what the kit cost back without anything, and I couldn't really go through and say anything more about the loss of that. The engine alone and everything else, the retracts, everything else, it was big time loss, probably $5,000 or $6,000 before everything else was gone. So anyway, I talked to Mears, and I decided, after looking at his jet, I decided that the F-86 was not too alien to me, and that I could probably fly it. So basically, as it is, here we are. I got a hold of Mears, and if one thing wasn't bad enough, Scott Prosson came to the rescue over there in good old Florida, Lakeland, Florida. And anyway, I was on my way to Top Gun. We decided to drive, and so we could go and not rent cars and a whole bunch of other stuff, and we made it to Mobile, Alabama. That was as far as we got. Blew the engine up. Scott Prosson shipped this. This airplane has already been to Top Gun, is the moral of the story. And when it revisits, if you look on if you look on any of the advertisements for Mears at being a Top Gun, you're going to see a kit sitting on that table. This is that kit. So yes, it's already been to Top Gun. It's already been shown. And this time it's going to turn around and come back, and hopefully it's going to win. I've got a lot of really great guys that have donated an awful lot of time and a lot of great things in this. I'm recognizing Carton Alexander, great guy, again, out of the country. Just bought my engine from a gentleman in the UK, and it's on its way. Got a screaming deal on that. I can just say there's some really amazing people out there, and again, you know, any advice that I can give, anything I develop, I will make ready for. I'll make it available for this jet. And on top of it, I think some of the biggest and best things is that a lot of the people that are involved in this love this hobby just as much as we do. And so I'll leave you with that thought. And again, coming back, because people are asking about the thought and how much does it cost? It would cost you more not to do it. And that's my opinion, because this is going to keep your mind sharp. It actually relaxes me to build this airplane, and it keeps my mind out of the gutter. You know, I could be sitting in a bar feeling sorry for myself, drinking up $100 a day in beer. So I just stay home and drink $5 a day in beer. But, you know, it's one of those deals. Is where there's a lot of things that could be a lot worse to do. Some people go and pay $10,000 for a boat. Some people pay $10,000 to spend in a casino. Me personally, I say you could actually, unless you're going to build this for competition and you're going to get a little bit crazy in the spending. If you build this airplane for sport purposes and just there, you build it the way it's intended to be, you're going to be able, with the turbine, radio, everything else in there, you're going to be looking at about $6,000-7,000, and that'd be in American dollars. Pounds are worth more in American money by a little bit, and it depends. You do not need deep pockets to do this. I also want to emphasize one fact. I'm just past the 1-year mark on the build on this thing. We're just now getting it glassed, just now about ready to start doing panel lines and getting things. I've still got a lot to do. It'll take you 2 years to build this airplane the way I'm doing it. And that's because I'm doing a lot of extra stuff to it. But while we're on the subject of that, this is the inside of one of those flaps. And as you can see, they all build very well, but it's all up to you on how you finish and build this, and that's going to be a big major contributor to how much you're going to cost. If you're frugal, not cheap, frugal, you go with some used equipment that you know is good. Talk to some of these guys that are in these Facebook groups. Find out where they're at. Find out who's got a used engine that's got some service that's just reasonable. You know, you can get turbines for half the cost of a brand new one. You're going to pay for the shipping, but you're also going to be looking at saving. If you buy a brand new turbine, you're looking at about $2,500 to $3,000. So if you go and you buy one, they got to be serviced every 25 hours anyway. It takes a couple of years to put 25 hours on one of these because they only fly for about 10 or 15 minutes anyway, depending on what you're doing and how big it is and whatever. You can get cheaper turbines, but you're not going to be able to get them serviced very well, and you can do this. So look at staying with JetCat, Jetman, something like that, whatever. Not, you know, King Techs are fine as long as you got guys that know how to work on them. I kind of shied away from the King Tech, and I'm glad I did. And not slamming that company. There's also all these new turbine things. There's turbines on eBay. I don't know. Man, you buy it and it's a throwaway item. You know, don't buy a used turbine. I mean, like that. Make sure it's a reputable thing that can be sent and get fixed. I mean, this Jetman can be sent right back to, there's plenty of service companies right outside of Florida that know how to do it and can do it, and they're licensed to do it. So, you know, there's a lot. Spectrum radios, you can buy them used, $200-300. I would really strongly recommend that you do have it at least an 18 channel, because you'll outgrow a 9. 9's not enough for all the things we're doing to these things, and it's just, you gotta make sure you're doing it. You want to make sure that you have absolute redundancy in power and and good equipment. This is by far probably one of the most important things you do. It's a couple $100, but you know, these are just little things that you need to consider. Don't buy cheap bullshit. So you're going to spend some money, but make sure if you're getting it used, make sure it's been serviced, make sure it's been this and that. And I've never had any real huge bad luck with buying used equipment. My JR radios were all used. I think I gave a couple $100 a piece for those. That one down there was bought, and I think I only gave like $300 for it. But then I took it down and had it checked out. I had the one hobby shop we do have all the way down in Linwood, I had them update it for me and double check it. So it's really not about being cheap, it's about being frugal. Because for the cost of what a brand new turbine costs, I have this, all my servos, everything I need. And you're still going to be in the ballpark about $4,000 to $5,000 to build this airplane, even if you go used. Servos are something I will not ever put used in an airplane. I buy them new, and they're not. You don't have to have them all at one time. And if you follow my directions on this, I show you how to use a dummy servo to go. And if you don't have your servos, so what? If you know how to measure them, you know how to use one of these, and Harbor Freight again. If you know how to use one of these, you can make anything work. Very inexpensive tool. And there's just tons of really cool stuff out there. It's on the market. I'll see you guys in the funny papers.